Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking past the surface of Roblox. Lots of people just see a kid's game, right?
Mm,
But our sources paint a really different picture. We're talking about a potential metaverse pioneer here.
that's right.
So our mission today is to really unpack that. We'll dig into the strategy, the unique model, that explosive growth, the financials, which are interesting, and where it's heading,
Yeah,
all based on the material we've got.
exactly. And at its heart, Roblox is, well, it's this free-to-use immersive platform. But the real magic, I think, is in its integrated ecosystem.
Okay.
It's got the Roblox client, that's where users play. Then Roblox Studio for making stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Roblox Cloud underneath it all. That's the foundation for its whole user-generated content approach. Very distinctive.
Right, you mentioned that integrated ecosystem client, studio, cloud. What makes that specific setup such a strong defense, like a moat, against others trying to do something similar? It sounds complex.
It is, but it's elegantly designed. So the client is a front door where millions jump into these experiences. Studio is this, well, surprisingly powerful tool set anyone can use to build games, worlds, whatever.
Okay.
And the cloud makes it all scale globally, seamlessly. But the key isn't just tech pieces. It's how they link up.
How so?
They create this really potent positive feedback loop. You get more users playing, right?
Yeah.
That pulls in more developers wanting to build for that audience using Studio. They make more cool stuff, more variety.
Which pulls in even more users. Got it.
Exactly. It feeds itself. It's basically become like a YouTube, but for interactive experiences or games.
Yeah.
And that whole integrated system working together is super hard for competitors to just copy.
Okay, that makes sense. So user-generated content, UGC, is clearly the engine here. Just how big is this developer community? And what's the strategic advantage for Roblox letting users make everything?
Oh, it's fundamental. UGC isn't just a feature, it's the whole business model, really. Users create, they play, they even sell things using Robux, the platform currency.
Right.
And the scale is massive. We're talking over 4 million active developers. And they host something like 40 million different games or experiences.
40 million. Wow.
Yeah. And the strategic genius. Roblox essentially offloads the huge costs and risks of game development. Traditional publishers pay fortunes to make games. Roblox lets its community do it.
So it turns a cost center into potentially a revenue stream.
Precisely. And they incentivize it well. The revenue shares pretty generous. Developers can keep up to 70% of what their creations earn. Specifically, it works out to about 29 cents for every dollar a user spends in their experience.
29 cents on the dollar. That sounds decent. Is it actually creating, real careers for people? Is it economically viable?
It really seems to be, for a growing number. Get this. In just the first half of 2024, they paid out $410.68 million to developers.
Whoa.
And it's accelerating. Q1 2025 payouts, what they call DevX, jumped 39% year over year. That's $281 million in just one quarter. They're projecting it could be over $1 billion for the full year 2025.
$1 billion
Yeah.
to the creators.
Yep. And think about this. Over 100 Roblox developers earned over $1 million each in the last 12 months.
Incredible. So it's like a new digital economy almost.
Kind of, yeah. And what's also fascinating is that over half of Roblox users say they've learned some programming concepts just by using the platform.
Really?
Yeah, so it's creating its own future talent pool directly from its users. That's that powerful flywheel effect again.
Yeah.
It just keeps reinforcing itself.
That user growth is just huge. Which brings us to the numbers. The sources talk about compound growth at a massive scale. What does that actually mean when a platform is already this big?
It means they're not just adding users, they're adding users at a high percentage rate on top of an already enormous base. That's way harder than growing fast when you're small. It shows real staying power, product market fit.
Okay, so what are the actual numbers?
As of mid-2025, they hit 380 million monthly active users, MAUs. That's up 16.5% year over year. And daily active users, DAUs, in Q1 2025 reached 97.8 million. That's a 26% jump year over year.
Almost 100 million daily users.
Yeah. And they're sticky. Average playtime is around 2.7 hours a day. Total engagement hours in Q1 2025 hit 21.7 billion. Up 30% year over year.
Wow.
And their DIU-MAU ratio, which kind of measures stickiness, was around 20.9% in 2024. That's considered really, really good for consumer apps.
Okay, so people are definitely using it a lot, but who is using it? We're hearing there's a big demographic shift happening. It's not just little kids anymore.
Exactly. And this is strategically critical for them. The audience is definitely aging up. Users aged 17 to 24. They now make up 21% of the total player base.
A fifth of the users are young adults.
Right. And DAUs over the age of 13 grew 36% year over year in Q1 2025. They're now 62% of the total daily users.
Over 60% are teens or older.
Yep. And the sources call this demographic expansion a key strategic battleground. Why? Because older users generally have more money to spend.
Right, disposable income.
Exactly. Yeah. That directly impacts things like average bookings per daily active user ABPEU and the overall revenue potential. They're even creating specific experiences now aimed at the 17-plus crowd, like they mentioned a virtual bar that attracted over 9 million users.
A virtual bar. Okay, so definitely moving beyond the kids' game label.
Absolutely. It's a deliberate strategy.
So with that shift and the massive engagement, how are the financials looking? Is the top line reflecting this? Let's talk revenue, bookings.
Yeah, the top line numbers are strong. Q1 2025 revenue was $1.035 billion. That's up 29% year over year.
Over $1.25 billion.
And bookings were even higher, $1.207 billion, up 31% year over year. Both beat their own guidance. And for the full year 2024, revenue was $3.6 billion, also up 29%. So yeah, strong growth there.
Okay, strong growth. But here's the fascinating part, the paradox, right?
Yeah.
Despite all that money coming in, Roblox isn't actually profitable yet. How does that work? Some people must look at that and say, shouldn't they be making money by now?
That's the big question, yeah. They are reporting losses. The net loss for 2024 was around $940 million. And for Q1 2025, it was about $215 million. That gives them a negative net profit margin, around minus 20%.
Ouch.
But, this is pretty typical for tech companies in hyper-growth mode. They're pouring money back into the platform, into growth, infrastructure, R&D. The argument is they're investing heavily now to dominate later. It's common Silicon Valley playbook, right? Prioritize market share.
Okay, so it's strategic spending, not just losing money.
That's the argument. And there are positive signs on the cash flow front, which is important. Operating cash flow in Q1 2025 jumped 86% year over year to nearly $444 million. And free cash flow more than doubled to $426.5 million.
So cash is coming in even if the bottom line is red for now.
Exactly. And they brought in a new CFO, Naveen Chopra, who has experience at places like Paramount and Amazon. That signals they're definitely focusing more on financial discipline and, figuring out that path to profitability. The market wants to see that path, and strong cash flow helps ease concerns about the losses.
Okay, so that path to profitability, how are they planning to get there and keep expanding?
Well, international growth is a huge part of it. They're seeing really strong GAU growth in Asia Pacific, up 40% year over year in Q1 25. Japan, up 48%. India, an incredible 77% year over year growth.
In India, wow.
Yeah. And they added Arabic language support, which helped boost engagement in the Middle East and North Africa by 76% since 2021. So really pushing global reach.
That's reaching more users, but what about getting more revenue from the users they already have? I think I saw somewhere that a huge chunk of the time spent on Roblox doesn't directly make them money.
That's another key challenge, yeah. The estimate is something like 80% of the total engagement hours don't generate direct revenue right now.
80%. So people are just hanging out, essentially.
Pretty much. Or playing experiences that aren't heavily monetized yet. So Roblox is actively looking at ways to change that carefully. They're extending beyond just selling Robux.
Something what?
Advertising is a big one. They've partnered with Google to scale up ads, especially rewarded video ads. Watch an ad, get something in-game. And they're targeting those older users we talked about.
Yes.
And they're also developing more premium game monetization models for developers to use. The big question is how to tap into that passive engagement for revenue without, messing up the user experience that keeps people there for 2.7 hours a day.
Tricky balance. Okay, and then there's AI. That seems to be everywhere now. How is Roblox using artificial intelligence?
So they're going deep on AI. It's not just talk. They have over 300 machine learning models that they built themselves running right now.
300, okay.
Yeah. And they've got plans for AI to generate text for in-game characters, the NPCs, coming soon. And AI-driven tools to help users create 3D assets more easily, planned for Q2 2025.
So AI helping creators make stuff faster and maybe better?
Exactly. It lowers the barrier to entry for creation, speeds everything up, helps bring in different kinds of games. Plus, they're using AI heavily for moderation and safety, which is crucial given their user base.
Right, the safety aspect.
So AI gives them this double benefit, helps growth, makes things more efficient, and enhances safety. That's a pretty powerful differentiator.
They also have this really ambitious goal, right? Something about the global gaming market.
Yeah, they do. Their stated objective is to eventually support 10% of all global gaming content revenue within the Roblox ecosystem.
10% of the entire world's gaming revenue? That's bold. What are they now?
Currently, it's less than 3%. So big ambition.
So how do they plan to get from less than 3% to 10%?
By empowering their developers even more, giving them tools like differential robots pricing for different regions, better price optimization tools, regional pricing advice, improving search so players can find new types of games.
Ah, helping developers break into those bigger genres.
Exactly. Things like RPGs, sports games, racing, battle royale genres that make a lot of money outside Roblox right now. If they help their developers succeed in those areas, it builds incredible loyalty and keeps that fire hose of fresh content flowing, appealing to the older users too.
Okay, so that's the plan. But what about the competition? Who are they actually up against in this space?
Well, the gaming world is crowded, obviously. You've got giants like Epic Games with Fortnite, Minecraft, which is still huge, Meta pushing the Metaverse angle, Tencent, Microsoft with Xbox.
Big names. How does Roblox stack up in terms of, say, playtime?
Looking at 2024 data for PC, Xbox, PlayStation combined, Roblox had about 3.7% of playtime share. Fortnite had 9.3%, Minecraft 4.7%.
So lower playtime share than those big ones.
Yeah, but comparing just playtime can be a bit misleading, you know?
How so?
Because Roblox isn't really one game like Fortnite or Minecraft. Its core strength, it's a real differentiator, is being that pure user-generated content platform, that YouTube for games idea again.
Right, an ecosystem, not just a single hit.
Exactly. And that ecosystem model, that's their moat. It's incredibly hard for a traditional game company or even a single game platform to replicate that scale of content creation and community.
Yeah.
They're playing a different game, in a way.
Okay. But a platform this huge, especially with so many younger users, there have to be significant risks involved, right?
Absolutely. And they're critical risks. First off, regulatory and legal. They operate globally, so they're juggling complex rules everywhere about online safety, data privacy.
Especially with kids' data, COP and things like that.
Precisely. There have been lawsuits and probes accusations of tracking users, including kids, without proper consent, violating privacy laws like COP and ECPA.
Yeah.
And with, 46% of daily users still under 13? That demographic just magnifies the scrutiny. Any misstep there could be massively damaging financially and reputationally.
Yeah, that makes sense. What else?
Second, platform security. They've had incidents. There was a data breach back in 2016, another leak in July 2023 affecting people who went to their developer conferences.
Yeah?
And the platform is, unfortunately, a target for phishing scams, especially aimed at younger, maybe less savvy users.
Right, trying to steal accounts or Robux.
Exactly. And finally, tied to all that is reputation risk. Maintaining trust, especially when so many users are children, is absolutely paramount. Bad press, safety scares, that could seriously hurt the brand people trust with their kids' time online.
So dealing with those risks must be a constant effort.
Has to be. Continuous investment in safety tech, like that AI moderation we mentioned, better parental controls, strong cybersecurity. It's not just optional, it's fundamental to their whole business surviving long term.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive really shows Roblox as this fascinating mix. You've got incredible growth, this pioneering digital world they've built, but also these big hurdles with profitability and some really serious risks around safety and regulation.
Yeah, that sums it up well. Their unique UGC model, the way they've managed to attract older users, their big bets on AI, it all positions them really well for continued growth, especially as this whole metaverse idea evolves. But the core challenge absolutely remains: turning all that engagement and top-line revenue into consistent, sustainable profit while carefully navigating that really complex environment they operate in.
So thinking about this, what does it mean for you listening? It's worth considering how Roblox's journey might actually foreshadow bigger shifts in things like digital identity or how virtual economies work. If more of our interactions, maybe even our work, move into platforms like this, what new opportunities and maybe what new challenges does that create for how you might connect, create things, or even earn a living in these digital spaces down the road? Something to think about.